Hey there, welcome to another Curtis Stage video tutorial. Today's tutorial is in Photoshop and we're going to be talking about glitch art. Now before we get started, I want to talk just a little bit about what glitch art is. So you've probably seen this before maybe. Usually it happens on a TV set. You'll be watching TV and all of a sudden some random weirdness starts occurring. Sometimes it happens on a computer as well. Usually it's a malfunction. It's not a good thing if it's happening. And so it happens in software, video games. I've seen it a lot in video games, digital images, videos, audio it even happens in. And what happens, of course, is you'll get something like this image. Although this image was made in Photoshop to try to recreate a digital artifact that might have been accidental. And that is something that's important to think about here. Sometimes glitch art is completely random. It's an unintentional distortion made by digital crash, and somebody saved that image and it became an artwork. Or, in a lot of cases, and in what we're going to do today, it's intentional pixel disruption. Either way, this has led to an entire subgenre of graphic design. What I like about it is there's this sense of controlled imperfection in it. It reminds us that technology is imperfect. And so when we see this kind of art, it really is talking about the technology that of the time and that we're using, whether it's, in this case, a scanner. So this would be a digital scanner having this glitch, the artist forcing the glitch within a digital scanner. So it's interesting how these images come about. It talks about kind of technological imperfections in the world we live in. We often see distorted imagery in pop culture as an acknowledgement of how technology has involved itself in our everyday life, right? It's all around us. But then also how easily destructible it is when we get these moments where it just like happens. This is a website, Glitch Safari. They have a collection of glitch art that just happens on TVs that maybe the TV stopped or paused and the user will grab a screen grab of it or computer screen grab from it, and they'll post it to this website, Glitch Safari. It's pretty cool. It's just a whole collection of random glitch art. Again, not purposeful, all completely random, computer generated. It takes the artist out of the art. And I mean, I guess, could we call this art is a question? But it's an interesting visual, an exciting visual medium, and lots of things can be done with it, including by this artist, Rob Sheridan, filmmaker, makes a lot of videos, most probably well known for working with 9 Inch Nails, doing a lot of their music videos and photography. And I like how glitch art conveys an acknowledgement of system failure, right? And our fragile relationship with technology. And Rob Sheridan really a lot of his work is about system failures, space or whatever. Pretty cool. There's another Rob Sheridan piece. Super mysterious. It's kind of spooky. It also looks retro, of course. So, now here in this day and age, you think of something like this would happen in the 80s or 90s. And it certainly did a lot because technology was not as good as it is now back then. And there'd be a lot of disruption in technology. It'd be completely accidental. But artists started making glitch art in the 80s and 90s. There was a lot of artists that were working specifically to try to screw up technology, to say, hey, this new medium of technology that's so perfect and awesome, let's mess with it. And that's kind of what we see with a lot of artists from back then. Rob Sheridan is from then, working even still today. So he's kind of been doing this for 30 years, been making this kind of work. And really check his stuff out when you get a chance on your own. Really cool stuff. I did want to kind of sway in another direction too, in that this is a friend of mine, Justin Bauer, LA artist. He makes glitch art, but these are paintings using no tech. So he's taking the idea of glitch art and then making paintings out of it. So he'll go into Photoshop, create these things in Photoshop, these visual disruptions, and then he'll create them large scale. Most of his paintings are like 6 feet high. This is huge, and they're really cool to see in person. And he's gained a lot of popularity by doing this kind of glitch art technique in painting. But again, not using any technology because it's painting. This is Fabrizio Laviani. This is an actual sculpture, not a digital representation of it. It is an actual sculpture. It's so cool to see these things. They're mind bending. So I like kind of where glitch art can go out into the real world too, outside of technology. So clearly this references technology, but then also what I dig about these sculptures is they, kind of have this old and new happening at the same time. Really, really cool. Now, one thing that I want to talk about just before we get into Photoshop is I want to talk about file corruption as a way to kind of create glitch art. So here's an example. We're going to do one. I'm going to show you kind of how to use file corruption as you don't want to do this a lot, but this is something that you can create work using file corruption. And so you're purposely messing with files. So this is a digital image I made. If you are in my class, we've used this image before in a demo. So there's that image, and here's another image. So you can see they could easily be done in Photoshop, but these are completely done by me totally screwing with a file. So let's do that. All right, so to do this, I'm going to take a random JPEG. I've got one of my daughter here. Cute. I'm not going to open this up in Photoshop or any digital imaging program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this file. Now, I'm not going to rename this part of the file. I'm actually going to rename the JPEG. So I'm going to get in here and rename it as a text file, so TXT. And it's going to say, do you sure you want to use that? I'm going to say yes. Now look at it, immediately is now not an image document anymore. It's reading this as a text document. I'm going to click and open this up. It's going to open up in a text editor. You can do this on a PC as well. And when this opens up, you're going to see lots of code here. So here we go. Let me close that. So here we go. Here's all this code. You don't really need to know what any of this means. In fact, once you get down past this top area, you don't want to edit anything up here. You want to keep this up here. This is kind of telling you a little bit about what this file was done is. So this was shot with it says the metadata up here, shot with a 5D. I edited it in Lightroom Classic. All that's great. As soon as I get past that though, if you scroll down past this little symbol right here, this is where you can start editing and messing with this image. None of this makes sense now. This is all the textual data that makes this image up. It's pretty crazy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight random portions and delete. I'm just going to go in here, just pick, it's a lot. I'm just going to go in here and pick random portions, delete out. Then what I'm going to do, whole chunk, I don't know what that does. I have no idea, right? I'm just kind of totally disrupting this thing. Now I'm going to take some random portions and copy them. Command C and then Command V, paste. I don't know what that is, but it's getting copied like 6 times. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go down. It's kind of fun. Don't know what you're going to get. And I'm going to go in here, delete, and then I'm going to take this and copy this, Command C, and get down here, Command V, and paste, 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 paste. So I'm just totally screwing with the code. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to go back to this thing and see where it says TXT. I'm going to rename that. So I don't want to open it up again. If I double click, I'll open it. Just click, and you can control click as well and say rename. And then it wants me to rename the file, but I'm actually going to rename the file extension back to JPEG, JPG, and it'll convert it back, use JPEG. Now it's back to a digital image. And you can see when I hit my space bar and open this up, I've now, really started destroying the pixels on this. Notice it started at the bottom. I hadn't done anything really to the top. I don't know. I was working at the top. Maybe it starts at the bottom and goes up. So that's a good thing to remember. So pretty cool. So now what I can do is I could do that, take like 6 copies of this image and keep doing that and then bring them into Photoshop and kind of edit them more. I'm not going to do that. I just kind of wanted to show you how you could disrupt the pixels randomly by not using Photoshop. You could do this to movies as well. Okay, we're going to start this tutorial using this image that you can download off of Canvas. Here's what the image is going to look like when we're done. You can see, let me zoom into it, scan lines, kind of pixel disruption. Looks like a old 80s VCR is kind of like malfunctioning. The tape is like screwed up. So here's our image. First thing we're going to do is unlock the layer. I've already done mine. You can click the little lock to unlock it. Then I'm going to convert this to a smart object. So there's two ways to do that. One way is we can control click right here on the layer stack and convert to smart object, or we can go up top to layer and then, or we can go up top to layer and then smart objects, convert to smart object. So we want to do that. You'll notice when you do that, the symbol right here changes in that corner. Now, the reason why we want to have a smart object is because we want to have what's called smart filters on here. We're going to do some things on this image and we want to be able to go back and edit them again. In fact, this is going to make it so that this image is kind of, we're editing in non-destructive mode. Some of you remember smart objects from a prior class of mine. And what that allows you to also do is to open images between applications. Let's say I wanted to open this up in another Adobe application like After Effects. If I have it in After Effects and I make a change to the original back in Photoshop as a smart object in After Effects, it'll update in After Effects and vice versa. So we're not doing that here, although we could. We are doing it so we can have some smart filters that are going to happen. All right, so now we're going to duplicate this layer a couple times. So to do that, Command J, we're going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So we're going to have 5 total layers here. The bottom layer is our original. We can just kind of leave that there like that, title that. This layer is going to be called red channel. This is, you don't need the period in there. I typed a period on accident. Green channel. So I'm just clicking right in here, double clicking and renaming these blue channel. You don't need to have the word channel in there, but we're going to be targeting those color channels. And this top one is called distort. Okay, so we've got that going on. We've renamed our layers. I want to turn off the distort layer and we're going to just click on the blue channel here. So this one is, we're going to start here. I'm going to do this pretty much the same thing for all 3 of these. So we're going to start here. We're going to go up top to filter, okay, and then distort, and then shear. And this is going to give us some possible wavy patterning here. I'll zoom in a second, but you can see if I, right, like that. I don't want to go too far off, so you can see this line. Now these little dots here, if I don't like them, I can kind of just take them and toss them off and start over again with a straight line. I'm just going to put a couple wave, just a little slight wave, and then kind of do a slight wave on this channel. Not much. I want it to say wrap around. Doesn't really matter right here because we're not really seeing the edges. But if we went really far, if I have repeat pixel edge, do you see what's happening right here? And if I have wrap around, it's going to kind of just take the image on this side and wrap it back over here. So I kind of like that one, although this looks cool too. But we're not getting that extreme anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of just barely making this kind of shape and click OK. Now you can see it distort that one, right? My eyeball's on, there's off, on. You can see it's distorted. Now, we've got a smart filter on here. That means that I can double click and get back in here and re-edit this. This is great, right? If I didn't like that, I could double click and re-edit. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to turn off my, I want to disable the red and, I'm on the blue channel. So I want to disable the red and green. To do that, we're going to go into our effects. So our layer styles. I'm just going to go to blending options, open up the dialog box. This comes up and I'm on the blue layer. So I want to uncheck red and green. Look at that. You can kind of see what happens when I have these. It's cool, right? That's all I'm doing on there and click OK. Okay, so now you can kind of see there's a little shifting there. Only the blue channel's on. You can look over here in the, right, in the plants and you can see this kind of happen. So we got this shift. That's cool. All right, let's go to the green channel. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to click on the green channel. We're going to go up to filter. We're going to go to distort. We're going to go to shear. I'm going to go kind of the other way on this, just slightly. Again, just slight. I don't want to do this too much. Now, if she was bigger in my frame, maybe I would distort this a little bit more. But she's so small in the frame, I want to do this very small. But this is like a big portrait. You could distort more here. So when you guys do this on your own, you might want to pick an image that's like a close-up of somebody, and that would look cool. And you could distort it more and fool around with that. So I'm just going to do something like this. Now, if I turn the eyeball off here, you can kind of see what's going on. So I've got two distortions here. Now I want to do the same thing on this green channel. I'll go down to the FX button down on the layers panel and click blending options. And I'm on the green channel, so I want to keep that. I want to take off the blue and red. There we go. Nice. Now we're getting somewhere. Now the red channel could stay. You could just leave it just like this, although I want to shear this one too a little bit, or you could leave it, right? Kind of see what you want to do here. So I'm going to go to filter, just see what it looks like. I'm going to go to distort, shear, and maybe I'll go just top. Maybe I'll do this road really in the sky and keep her kind of the same. Maybe I want that plant to move. Ooh, no, I kind of want to do this. So something like this. Maybe I'll really distort that road like there. Like that. Okay, so that on the red. Cool. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's better than the last one I did. All right, so I can leave this, all three of my channels on, or I can go see what they look like. So I'm going to go to Effects, Blending Options. I'm going to turn off those two. Yeah, I really didn't do much. It's at the bottom. So I think it's pretty good just leaving it on. So I'm going to click OK. Nice. Okay, so I've got that going on. Now I want to go up to the distort layer up top and turn that back on. Now it's going to look like everything's normal again, right? So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do this shear on this one. So I'm going to go to filter. You're getting the hang of this. Distort, shear. And on this one, I'm going to, maybe I'll take it back this way. Just kind of go the opposite way with this one. Kind of the road really going that way. So I'll do that. And then on this one, I want to disable the blue and green. Well, I can experiment. So I'm just going to kind of go down here, go to the blending options, and let's take a look here. So if I move this out of the way and disable, oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah. So you kind of just decide. So if I left the red and the green on, kind of cool. But if I just leave the red on, that's pretty rad. If I just leave the blue on, I kind of like that. All right. You just have to kind of see which, oh, that's kind of cool too. Just the green and the blue. Okay, I'm going to go green and blue because I like how the road is kind of doing this thing. Again, I don't have a lot of control over this, but it really depends on how you shear this. So if you want to go back and like re-distort to kind of get, I like this double road thing I could go in here. No idea that was going to happen. That's cool. All right. Okay, now that we got this, let's add some scan lines in here. So back in the day, in VHS days, you would see the scan lines of the video. So I'm going to add a new layer. We're going to fill this layer with white. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. Over here, white is my background color. See, I can flip it right there, make it my background color. And on a Mac, if I do Command and Delete, I filled that background layer with white. Nice. Now let's go up to Filter, and we're going to go to Filter Gallery. And I'm going to go to Sketch, and I want to pick Halftone Pattern right here. Halftone Pattern in Sketch. See that one? So Sketch and Halftone Pattern. And then I want to pick the size of these lines. So you can see I picked lines, so there's circles. So if you wanted to make pop art, this is cool. That would be cool, right? There's dots if you're doing pop art situation. I'm going to do lines, and I'm going to make the size 1, and I'm going to make my contrast, I'm going to make my contrast like 20, something like that. That looks cool. All right. So I'm going to click OK to that. Now I've got these scan line deals here. And So what I want to do is I want to blend mode this. So I'm going to go and take that and go overlay. Let's see what one of my blend modes. So again, I'm going to go up to where it says normal. I want a blend mode. What do these blend modes do? They are compositing one layer with the layers below it. So I'm going to say overlay is pretty good, or I could say soft light. Let's say soft light. Yeah, soft light's a little better maybe. So that's kind of cool. Now, I don't like where it's like, I don't want all the scans on her, because if I zoom in, she's already hard to see. I don't want that much scan on her, so I'm going to kind of mess with this a little bit, but that's looking pretty cool. Okay, so I want to zoom in, Command plus. I want to put a mask on this layer, because I don't want those scan lines as much on her face. The mask is going to be white. I press the Add Mask button on the bottom of the Layers panel. I'm going to go to my paintbrush. So I don't want to just paint in here, because what's going to happen is when I paint, I'm going to see the edge of my brush. So what I want to do, and my brush, has a round edge to it. So I want to actually create some little rectangular marquees. So you can see I just took the marquee tool and drew a box. I'm going to paint inside that. I can paint with my paintbrush, or I can just go to Edit, Fill with Black. I can do the trick here if I want to do Command Delete and fill that. So Command Delete, I switch my paintbrush background color to black, and then I'm going to go and create a couple other random ones. So let me do that. Let me just go zoom out now. I like this, and I'm just going to kind of randomly make some boxes here, and then Command Delete. So you can see that now some of those scan lines are not happening in these boxes. So I'm just going to have a couple random ones that would be kind of, so just some random ones, just kind of that maybe go all the way across, something like that. Then Command Delete, or Control Delete on a PC. So I'm just kind of getting some, filling that in. You can see if I go to my Option click on my mask, that's what my mask looks like. So I hover my mouse right here and Option click, and now I've got that on I can see that, right? So let me get one kind of randomly up here. All right, so Command Delete. And there we go. Maybe a little too bright up there doing that. Maybe I don't like that one there. Let me get a small one down here. So Command Delete. It's up in the sky. Maybe it doesn't work so hot. Down in here. And then Command D, deselect. That's looking pretty cool, right? So now we've got some glitched, right? And all we did was do some scan lines and then mask onto those. You could also mask on your distort layer as well. So if you go to your distort layer and add a layer mask on that, and you can see what happens kind of doing that. So maybe I'll make a line going all the way across like this. And again, with black as my background color, Command Delete. Oh yeah, this is going to do some stuff here. Let me go across her. And then Command Delete. Yeah, look at that. So this is picking up the layer below. So right, my mask is then going to pick up this right here. So I'm just kind of randomly going to have some chunks in here. Command Delete. That gets her shoe up. Yeah, that's cool. And then how about down the road down in here? Command Delete. Let's see then it. All right, and then maybe a couple up in the sky. This is kind of good up here. Command Delete. I can't really, you can only see it kind of in the clouds, I guess. So I'm filling that with black. So I'm on the distort layer, filling that with black. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. That would be how, one way. There's many ways, of course, to do glitch art in Photoshop. And this is one good way to do it. So what I want you guys to do is do an image on your own. I want you to give me this image in Canvas. So I want to see your demo image, what you do to this image. and it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. And then I want you to find another image online or take one of your own images, even better. I'd rather you take your own image and try this same technique using your own image and upload that to Canvas. So as part of your assignment for this is to have two images. One is the demo image and one's the assignment of a new image, completely new. I want you to wow me with your glitch art. Alrighty, that's been a Curtis Stage tutorial, and we'll talk to you soon.